Hey guys, today I'm with Micah, and we're going to talk about whether or not you should quit your job, depending on your circumstances. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and try to go over the pros and cons of leaving. So, with nothing else to do, welcome, Micah.
Hey Jack, thanks for having me on again.
Oh, it's always a pleasure having you. So, how do you feel about it?
So I first heard the word bankable from Dion Talk Financial Freedom, but
Yes.
once he explained what that word was, it made all the more sense to me. And especially how Zucaro, One Rental at a Time, talks about where, it's like your job. And yet I think even Greg Dickerson said this, where your job is like a cash flow machine. So you tie both of those things together, that's kind of like the steady bedrock that you can use to be able to get one rent at a time. So even though, I can go back and forth with work, I know how important it is to be able to scale. And that's why, I just try to trudge through it day in and day out, even though it's against my best interests at times.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I feel like if you're going to be in it for the short term and you're not going to do it for the next 40 years, then it really doesn't matter if you're there for 5 years. But if you're going to be there for, extended amount of time of 40 years, your entire working career, then I would suggest you switch and move because it's going to do devastating damage to your psyche and potentially your physical health and your well-being. And there's nothing that's more important than your mental and physical health as far as what this goes. But if you're short term, you figure if you're in a position where you would have to leave and then start new, you have to reestablish yourself, and it's going to take 2 years of W-2 income. And 2 years, when you start getting rolling and stuff, that could be like four rental properties or even more. But I feel like for me personally, at this point in time, especially with my seniority and my extra vacation stuff, I feel like I'm better off staying where I'm at, even though it can be very labor intensive and physically exhausting, and sometimes mentally challenging just because it's short term.
I agree. And, you know, I've been working at the same job for about 11 years now. And it was when I kind of hit that 10-year mark, I tried to negotiate with my boss.
Hmm.
And we didn't see eye to eye. So what I did was I found another job, and it was a government job. So I went and I switched to that. But when I had gotten there, it was, I didn't realize that when you switch a new job, you have to put 120% more effort in because you want to make a good impression. And it was also a longer drive, and especially I actually added more traffic time to my everyday route. And I realized that I lost a lot of the leverage that I had created spending 10 years in one company.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, me being gone for 6 months, I think my boss realized how important I was to the company. So he kept on calling me every month, asking me to come back. And then finally, when I saw the kind of writing on the wall with the government job,
Hmm.
I talked with him again. Then we renegotiated, and he pretty much gave me everything I asked for and extra too. So now I feel like I'm in a much better position, and yeah, I'm actually happier. I'm happier now.
Well, that's good. When you say writing on the wall, do you mean like that it was going to shut down, or just we were talking about before with no seniority and everything else like that?
Yeah, it's just, well, I tried to see what type of growth potential I had, and it was just a really kind of, the culture wasn't the best fit for me, I would say.
Mm,
And I just kind of saw how hard it would be for me to even get up to the level that I wanted to get up to in that government job.
yeah.
So I just thought about it and I said, you know what? I rather I it was good that I had that experience. I rather just go back to my position I'm at now, where I have so much more leverage, and on top of that, I can get uh, a better raise than I was at the government position.
Well, that's good. You got things worked out.
I wanted to ask for you because you work the night shift, so if you could kind of expand more on that, because I know that's not not everyone has those type of shifts, so the graveyard shifts and those type of things.
Yeah, so I work a rotating night shift schedule where I'll either be it's two on, two off, three on, three off type of thing. It kind of works out that if I'm off, for example, a day one, and you have to think about your whole schedule being 2 weeks, making it more or less 1 week. It makes it less confusing. If I'm off a day in the first week, I'll work it the second week. Is how it works. But between the varying 12 to 15-hour night shifts, the whole flip-flopping of days and stuff, it gets to be a bit much. But I hate to say it, but it's like the environment that I'm in. If I had a chance to go to daylight at this place where I didn't have to give up everything, I would probably take it. However, if I had to start over and go somewhere else, even on a daylight position, I don't feel like it's worth it at my point because where I'm at now, I'm so seasoned. I'm like the ultimate trainer. I'm the backup supervisor. I'm the lead machine operator. I can put on, I'm a backup pre-sterile. So like I can put on any hat on the floor and go do it. Except for they wanted me to put on or do backup manufacturer. And I wanted nothing to do with that. It's just, it would have meant more time out in pre-sterile, and I didn't feel like learning that whole division that intently. Whereas backup supervisor, I already did all the jobs building up to that, so I already knew what all went into that. But yeah, the only way I would probably at this point give up the night shift was to go to daylight on this company. But even then, to be honest, with the shift differential and everything else from working nights, for me to switch, it would probably be for a supervisor job, and I'd just be breaking even because I'd give up because what I would gain in the promotion, I would lose in shift differential.
And it does feel good having, being able to skill up, and you become so indispensable to the company that it just creates this point where, you have so much leverage that you can use it for other type of ventures too.
Well, that's why, like, you're not technically supposed to be allowed to be listening to podcasts and music and stuff in the clean room. And my boss would come up to me and jokingly be like, "Oh, what you listening to today?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'm listening to a real estate podcast. I'm listening to this Christian podcast or whatever." And he just like, "Oh, okay. Well, don't let anyone catch you." And he just walks away because I always wear muffs and you can't see my earbuds anyway.
Yeah,
He always joke.
that's
He
awesome.
always Yeah, he always jokes around. He says he's like, "I can't do anything worse to you than what you're already listening to and torturing yourself with."
That's pretty good. You're honest about, real estate, because that's something I don't share with my boss. So I guess that's one difference that we have.
I don't tell him what I'm doing. I don't tell him about the properties I'm doing. And I don't tell him about the work I'm doing. He just knows I'm involved, but he doesn't know to the extent. And I keep that to myself. There's another guy. He comes from a construction background. I may talk to him a little bit about current projects just because he likes hearing about them, and I like hearing his input on different techniques and stuff. But he's about the only one I talk to. Everyone else, I kind of keep in the dark.
Will they ever find out about your channel?
If they pay attention, I'm sure they'll figure it out at some point. But I figured they probably won't figure it out until I'm putting in until I hit retirement on my HR thing.
So when you do hit that point, are you the type of person who would just put in your 2 weeks, not say a word, like only do it with HR, not say a word, and then just leave? The Irish goodbye.
I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, to be honest, because like there's I've been screwed over by that company so much. I've actually thought about just calling off and just never coming back. But then I feel like that would be a huge slap in the face that a bit to the people that have been in trenches with me. I know like some of them I hang out with outside the place. So unlike Dion, Matt, and all them that say, "Oh, I never talked to anyone," I think there's two couples I probably would still hang out with because we all play cards and stuff together outside of work and D&D. But outside of them, I don't think I'm really gonna see any of them again. So I would probably actually like to do more of a do the HR thing, and then on my last day, just kind of keep it tight. And on my last day, bring in like some cupcakes and make an announcement of me being like, "Hey, today's my last day. Have a cupcake."
I like that.
If I have the extra money, I might get. You ever see? I forget who it was a commercial. Was it QuickBooks that the lady quit the office job and went and started a bakery and she put farewell or I quit on the cake.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that commercial.
I thought about doing something like that too.
Mm.
How about you? What are you thinking about doing?
Well, I've had such kind of a close relationship with my boss. I would want to let him know way in advance, I think. And kind of I would kind of go out. I would go above and beyond trying to train up the new person because I know how hard that would be to find someone. I have to train them, especially with his schedule. So I
Hmm.
think I would give him maybe like a couple month notice.
See, that's the thing for me. With it being a production facility, it's a little different. They already have the next person in line. Like I leave, they're gonna bump up either one of two people into my spot, and everything's gonna be status quo and normal within a couple months. And all they're gonna do is they're gonna have those people train up the backup operators and all that kind of stuff, and then they gradually work their way up through the system. So I'm not even too much worried about that.
With your vacation time, what do you do with it? Do you kind of go traveling or do you like more, kind of curious on that?
I usually go camping,
Hmm.
hunting, fishing.
Nice.
We just got back from a camping trip not too long ago. I did some fishing and stuff. I did okay.
Yeah, I thought I saw pictures. Did you go to Ohio?
I was close to Ohio.
Okay. Was you looking at that market as well?
No, I was just I like to look around. There's a place up there I'd like to maybe consider retiring to. So I sometimes just look at our investment properties up in that area just to play around with, but nothing serious. Like nothing serious where I'd actually call someone to go take a look at it. Kind of like what Zuber's doing now with his Buying Vegas series. I'm kind of doing more of the daydreaming phase.
It never hurts to have a bucket list prepared.
Yeah. And that way, if I do decide to continue buying, I kind of have a handle on the real estate market. Like up there, the properties are a lot less expensive up there for some reason, probably just because you're so far away from Pittsburgh. And the rent is I want to say it's considerably cheaper too. So you have to factor in. It's almost like 2018, 2000, like 2016 through 18 prices.
Yeah, I was like, if the prices are even more reasonable than Pittsburgh, that's saying something. Because for me, Pittsburgh is a great value for.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. If you get out of the city and more into the country and stuff, they're a lot less. But then the biggest problem is, and this is what I told Cynthia before, because we have friends up there, and I was telling her I don't know how I feel about investing up there because your tenant pool is so much less. Like here, we have thousands of people that could see your ad and apply for. Where up there, you might only have 20 or so, and who's to say that they're not all garbage?
Yeah, that's a great point. Do you like the city life, like a mixture, city life and country life,
I'm
or
more,
could you
well,
see yourself more city?
we're both kind of a mix. I grew up in the country. Cynthia grew up in the city. She's moved out more rural than where I even grew up. And I, you know, would travel out that way and do stuff. But then I also like getting dressed up and doing my best like Frasier impression and going to like the symphony and the Broadway series and seeing the musicals and going into downtown having dinner and stuff. I enjoy doing all that and just all availability of things you can do in the city. But I also enjoy gardening, the outdoors, kayaking, fishing, hunting, and that's kind of where I was telling Cynthia, I was like, I'd like to. I've been doing a lot of research. I'd like to get a hobby farm, kind of like what UE has talked about in the past, like he used to have. Oh, but a hobby farm like UE used to have, and I want to try to keep it remote. So I want to set up greenhouses with skylights, so all the plants and stuff are safe from instead of a watering system I could turn on and off with my phone. I wanted to set up. I basically wanted to keep it so I could be there only like 3 days a week and keep everything fine. It even includes like the chickens. I don't know unless me and Cynthia moved there like permanently. I don't know how I would feel about living there while they're or living there with goats there because I feel like the goats would be too hard to maintain on a remote control system where the chickens it's like you open the door at a certain time. Chickens are usually smart enough when it gets dark out to go back in the coop and the door shut at a certain time. And even then, you can also put a wire thing around everything so they have access to the yard still if they wanted to. If they were stuck out there for the night, you don't have to worry about something coming in and killing
Yeah, another channel, Jack's Business Farm.
them. I'd probably honestly just hook up a bunch of cameras and do kind of like what Yui was talking about, where he would video the chickens and stuff. Because I'm going to be looking at them anyway, making sure everything's fine on the farm. So I might just make a channel out of it.
Oh man, that sounds so cool.
How about you? You're talking about going to Japan.
Yeah, I thought I was more of a country person, but her grandparents has a place out in the countryside of Karuizawa, and I'm kind of realizing it's not I'm not the best person out in nature. There's so much bugs, so much, and then sometimes at night it gets pretty freaky. Like I think a bear is gonna be coming around, or I could imagine just I don't know. I just have all these crazy thoughts in my head of animals coming in the house. Or, so I think I'm a mix. I like a little bit country, a little bit city too. Same thing.
Yeah, I don't mind being all out in the country and stuff, but it's just I feel like for myself, it's like over time you're going to grow bored of it because there's only
Yeah.
so much you can do.
I was thinking the same thing because I was looking around. I'm like, yeah, there's pretty much it's just a real simple life. The only thing we
Hmm.
can do is go to the grocery store, go to the meat store, go to the bakery store, and then after that, it's kind of you got to go to the city for more adventure.
Yeah. So how much longer do you think you have left?
Well, that's I'm just trying to see. I don't because now it's really good what Lumberjack says and what Dion says is you can't really rush things.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to hit my financial freedom number. So I'll just try to be slow and steady. And when it gets to 3,000, I'm going to try and stress test it in Japan.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work, then my plan is to go up to maybe 4,000. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just keep on going up and up until I finally feel comfortable, as well as having huge amount of reserves for thinking of anything that could go crazy with real estate as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about the same for you? How do you look at it?
Um, I'm kind of looking at it as I want to buy good deals. I only need like two or three a year. So I'm thinking with that, if I keep at that pace, I should be done in less than 5 years. Now that's not like done. That's just I'm sorry, I was going backwards. That'd just be financially independent. So like I probably would still work, but I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now unless I just did it for one additional year just to pay down some of my bad debt and just get all that. That way it's less that you have to worry about and stuff, and I can go work part-time somewhere else and save up. And if I got a chance to buy like, you know, five plus five plus unit, like a 5, 10, 15. I don't think I quite want a 20. It's somewhere close. I'd probably swing at that, and then I really just be done at that point. And at that point, I would probably take the extra money and start investing into the stock market like I was, heavier like I was slash is. I was at one time investing heavier in the stock market, but lately, as I got more and more into real estate, I started backing it off. I still like my selections that I picked, but I just greatly backed off because I see real estate as being the main vehicle to get me to the finish line a lot quicker. Where stocks, it's something good for diversifying at a later point and maintaining what you have. Because at that point, if I decide to sell a place, I can shove it in stocks.
Would you ever think of carrying a note, and then that way it's like less hands on for you?
I would, yeah, I would consider doing that. I would probably put it into some type of trust or something like that at that point, just so if I died and the note wasn't paid off, that it was still going somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm realizing is real estate. You know, I kind of consider myself creative, so that's what I like about real estate is you can be creative if you want to. There's so many different things you can learn, so many different options you can choose. So awesome.
Well, that's like I was talking to in that live stream the other day, and Mark's thing, we're talking about pivoting and stuff. I've been thinking about potentially buying a piece of land for the gas and oil rights because I've been studying the market in those areas and stuff, and there's some that cost the same as, like, for example, the double duplex I just bought, and it's like 50, 60 acres of land, oil and gas rights included. Now, granted, the gas well is going to dry up in, like, best case scenario, 30 to 35 years. So you need to take your proceeds from that, stick it into another car that's going to more be your longevity thing. But that's a quick way to raise the money to get there. That's kind of something I've been tossing around lately. I'm There's a few people that want me to do an interview, and I'm trying to figure out who I need to contact. but I want to try and talk to either like a oil and gas attorney or even a like a representative with the oil and gas industry and talk about, here, what are some things you need to think about? What are some things that most people, other than buying just a big chunk of land, what should you be looking at in the land? Because I know something else I'd like to do is I really don't want fields. Like I want woods. And how's that going to impact everything? Because I know a lot of places in PA, the woods have never been cut, trimmed, or anything. So there's a lot of big old trees with no trees coming up. So that's one of the things that they've been talking about too, is I forget what it's called. But basically they take away like so many of the big trees in one year and sell them off. And then they plant and it gives a chance for younger trees to grow, and then they pound stakes in the ground and keep them nice and straight and stuff, so the younglings can have a chance to grow now because they can actually get some sunlight. And then 5-10 years later you finish, when those trees are, the small ones are now medium to large size, you come in and now finish cutting off the old other old ones, and you kind of create this cycle where you're constantly having trees go too.
Yeah, that's a good analogy for real estate. You're building your real estate portfolio too.
Hmm.
Because I know Ned Talks and Stan, aren't they connected with oil? But I don't know what they do in oil.
I'm not sure. I only just started listening to Ned's channel last week, I think it was, and I haven't really gone too far back in his stuff. So maybe he's someone I need to start listening to more.
Yeah, maybe reach out and see, hey, do you know anyone? Maybe I get a brief understanding, then maybe it'll help you kind of tackle that PA market.
Yeah.
I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing with your channel, and you know, I can see. I think what I love to see is every video it's gets better and better. So I like seeing that, and then you can start with your first video and then look at it maybe a year from now and how much progress you've made with all the editing you do and all the logos, and I think that'll be great to see.
Whenever we're done, I'll show you the actual first video from the outdoor channel. You can see how bad it was. Like if you compare that first video to the first video of the business channel, it's already a world of difference because I already had processes put in place. Every episode, I swear, of the outdoor channel is like, oh, my mics aren't working. Oh, this ain't working. All this. I think that's the biggest reason why I stopped doing the outdoor channel was I got tired of fighting with all the equipment. It just everything kept breaking. How many phones you have to drop into the lake before you realize that it's a bad idea.
But the great thing is, you what is it that Think Media says? You punch fear in the face and hit record, and
Yeah,
that's what you did. That's what you did. So,
I punched in the face and then it came back around and scared me. I dropped it in the lake.
oh. Or there's even that one time you scared me, and then because you were filming in your two pack. I thought, yeah, that was so funny. And even you talked about it with Mark too. But at first, I thought it was a big spider or some type of creature, and I was
I don't
looking
know.
at in the video.
I don't know what it was, but like that house, like the house, I don't know what it was, but like it was starting to get to me a little bit. Like spending so many hours there, by yourself and smelling the ammonia and stuff. Like maybe that was starting to get to me, but like I just felt like someone was watching me towards the end. Like I was getting all paranoid and stuff, and then like I saw something to my right. I turned like I scared myself over a stupid mirror.
No, I
Yeah,
get that
as
feeling
soon as
too.
that happened, I was like, I got to end this in 3 minutes or less
Yeah,
and get out of here.
yeah. Stop recording. I think this is done. This is a wrap. This is a wrap on this one.
I still had to shoot the finishing up video for the when I signed the lease for. I just want to show what happened real quick. The tenants in there are pretty cool. I'm sure that they'll give me permission to come in and just film those few things as long as I don't film their stuff and them. But yeah, I
Awesome.
got all new LED lights put in there, fuse box. What else? Um, yeah, Frank was telling me the other day. He was telling me he was a little bit disappointed I didn't film the whole cleanup and stuff of that room. I told Frank, I was like, when stuff like that happens, I was like, I've had this happen multiple times, and I just know how I am. Like, unless you call me as I'm getting started, the thought's going to lose me, and I'm more worried about what needs to be done. Because I even had before where there was a prime incident or instance where something happened, and I should have filmed it. I was even reminded as I was arriving on the job site to do it, and within the 30 seconds of getting out of my vehicle, grab my tools, and going into the place, I still managed to forget it.
Yeah, Frank has told me the same thing too, where he's like, I should have recorded, but we're so busy or we're so wrapped up that we didn't have time.
I didn't realize how big his crew was. So, like a couple of those videos, you see a lot of people working in the background. I thought he was kind of I don't want to say a one man show because I knew he was bigger than that, but I thought he was probably like 3 to 5 people, and he looks a lot bigger than that.
You know, I don't even know how big his crew is, but I know he does work with subcontractors too.
Maybe that's what I was
So
seeing in the background of the video then.
yeah. And shout out to Frank, old guy REI on YouTube.
I should put a link to his channel in the description down below. And we'll also include Mark, only because he's been nice recently.
Yeah. Financial firefighter. Gotta shout out to Mark.
And today, out of all days, I made sure to wear a Penguins jersey just in
Oh
case if for some
yes.
just in case if for some reason Lumberjack ever sees this video. Well, anything else you'd like to talk about?
I think that's everything for me.
All right, cool. Then I'll go ahead and stop the recording.
All right, great talking with you.
You too. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, anytime.